Good evening, everybody. I'm back. I'm your host, Jack Remington, of the Jack Remington Political Analyst channel. Today's top story in my world is the ousting of James O'Keefe at Project Veritas yesterday. And Tim Pool was the first to break the entire video, and I watched it, and I was not too happy, as many others, literally millions of people, are not happy about this. Long story short, James O'Keefe was ousted as the CEO of Project Veritas, the eventual nonprofit he helped create, or he did create it, and made it what it was. A bookend story saga of the Acorn scandal under Obama that closed the bookend with the biggest scoop of this entire existence and won the journalistic war with the Pfizer expose. But it was that Pfizer expose of that last bookend there, in my not so humble opinion, that cost Mr. James O'Keefe his position. Pfizer has netted just over $1 billion net and counting from the COVID-19 vax and its boosters that is still disseminating to the public and overseas as well. And Pfizer can obviously afford a USSR-style 1960s, 1970s commissar lawyers and PR staff, in other words, propaganda budgets probably bigger than their actual R&D, and got the board of directors to fire James O'Keefe. So some of Project Veritas' dirty laundry list against James O'Keefe is eerily similar to those lists against the lasses of the Salem witch trials in 1692 in Massachusetts. The well-built, sturdy, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant women who were widowed but had significant land holdings were suddenly witches because rival and lesser women found a way to get rid of the competition and or just hated them for whatever transgressions, real or imagined. The one crime that sticks out in the James O'Keefe laundry list case here is that he was a tough taskmaster, hard to work for. Yet, for 13 years, this tough taskmaster's Bill Belichick impression was not a problem, and nothing was ever uttered, not one word, about this manner of management style by James O'Keefe. No leaks to the Washington Compost, no leaks to the New York Slimes, LA Slimes, The Guardian, or even CNN, the Communist News Network. No bloggers, no YouTubers, nothing. No Facebook, nothing. I can't find anything anywhere about this. I did a little bit of research myself. All of a sudden, out of the woodwork, when the board of directors turns on James O'Keefe as they count their new source of funding, and I will let you figure out which big pharma company I am suggesting here, all of a sudden these Project Veritas employees, past and present, filed complaints and affidavits against James O'Keefe. The final goodbye video that I watched yesterday, we can see many of the other employees that are sitting at the desk, and we can hear them, and they're in the main Project Veritas office where James O'Keefe is giving his final speech. The employees that we could see and hear were supportive of James O'Keefe. Usually when the rats jump a sinking ship, all the rats jump ship, if any other reason to save their own rear ends. Apparently this is not the case here, and I for one don't believe nor trust any board of directors that does not back up their ultimate rainmaker, and James O'Keefe certainly was that once-in-a-lifetime rainmaker. Project Veritas is no more, and it will never be back. That's my prediction. It's funny how James O'Keefe mentions the late, great Steve Jobs, who founded Apple in his garage decades ago. Steve Jobs gets funding early, similar to James O'Keefe did, gets the company from the basement garage to the sweet boardroom of the Fortune 500 companies with a $1 trillion valuation at one point, and Apple's board of directors fire Steve Jobs during the recession. For those who remember, Apple foundered like a dying fish out of water after they railroaded Steve Jobs. They had to have a scapegoat, right? Apple's board of directors then had to crawl back on their hands and knees and hire him back. Yes, Jobs did go back, but this time he had ironclad employment contracts, and Apple made numerous concessions, and Jobs could never be fired for any reason ever again. Apple balked at this at first, thinking, well, who's this guy think he is? Well, but the fear of Steve Jobs reteaming back with Steve Wozniak to start another company, then the Apple's board of directors, the cowards that they were and still are, took Jobs back, and the rest is history. Unfortunately for James O'Keefe, this won't happen in Project Veritas. Another YouTube site showed the live subscribers at Project Veritas channel and the Twitter handle of James O'Keefe increasing by the seconds, and I'll put the screenshot up here. I may put a small video here. But the board of directors of Project Veritas apparently don't care. Why would they? They somehow got their money from whoever to jettison this great man who smoked out Pfizer. wait until some of the donors of Project Veritas over the last 13 years to start to sue Project Veritas to get some of their funding back, or all their funding back, as they were not funding for anyone else but James O'Keefe to keep producing the breaking stories exposing the corruption, cancer that has affected all areas here in America. Now Project Veritas is not an LLC, but as I understand it, two nonprofit corporations. I want to say a 501c and a 503b, but don't hold me to that. But I saw it on a different site that it was two nonprofits merged into one holding nonprofit company that Project Veritas is under. So if that's the case, which I'm 99% sure it is, they can be cracked in numerous porcelain pieces, and by any crackerjack team of, remember Archie Bunkers, Rabbanowitz, Seven Savage Hebrew lawyers that won't leave any skin on the bones. Well, you get a Peter Thiel type of assembly of lawyers like to help take down that crazy guy Gawker, and this can be done again. And the board of directors is going to have to be personally responsible, and they're not going to like that too much, are they? So this might be fun to watch, but James O'Keefe will be fine. Look for him to start another similar company, and this time he will pay for the right counsel to ensure that he gets a similar deal like Steve Jobs of Apple. And I wish James O'Keefe the best of luck. I was called a tough taskmaster when I used to run the casinos back in the days, and no matter where I went, I would get the number 4, number 3 position. Even one time, even got to the number 2 position. But the opposition is, this guy's, he's turning us into a corporation, which I don't understand. Sue me. Okay, I'm out of the casino business. I was in the casino business for 38 years. Next story. Happy President's Day. The United States President was in, wait for it, hope you're sitting down, pay attention. Our President of the United States was in Ukraine. How about that? Kiev, the capital city of Ukraine, with his buddy Zelensky, hugging them like they're long-lost buddies. I'm surprised they didn't get a Photoshop of him, of Zelensky doing a reach around, trying to get more money out of Joe Biden's pockets, but I guess he's afraid to reach there. He might get a bag of poop. So I guess China Joe needed to get away from the Washington, D.C. protesting against the war in Ukraine. Did you see anything about that? For 24 hours, I didn't see anything on YouTube except one news clip, and I'll put the screenshot of that if I can remember. I am still dazed and confused at the people who keep defending Joe Biden no matter what, and they still keep bashing Donald Trump no matter what. They are convinced that Orange Man is bad, and at least, Uncle Joe, well, he's livable. Well, is he? He's destroyed the country in 2 years. He really destroyed it in the first 60 days, and we're on life support. Some people are saying the country's dead, and we're trying to get the heartbeat going again like that Buffalo Bills player. If that's the case, it's over. I never saw a 79-year-old man run like this before. Joe Biden running from the press. And I have not recovered from these humanoids wasting our precious oxygen cells that do not want to make America great again. Donald Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again," the slogan that outfoxed every politician, and that Hillary Clinton had to have a 4-day summit and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with her minions of social justice warrior wannabes, and they can only come up with 86 slogans, and the one that they chose was "I'm with her." That was the only thing they could find to compete with "Make America Great Again." So not only did Donald Trump beat them at their own game, he outsmarted them all. But that's okay. The swamp got him back. They got him in the 2020 election. We all know that. I'm over the top, and I just don't understand how fellow Americans could not want to make the country. Forget Donald Trump. Let's say it's Ron Paul, the old man. He practically said "Make America Great Again" with a smaller government. Those 2 words, smaller government, is curse words to the Democrat Party. They want bigger government because it's automatic voters, and that combined with their minorities and identity politics. Now they're transgenders and this and that. Now it's corporate wokeism. The wokeism has affected the military. The wokeism is in every aspect of our government. It's already in the FBI. There was 3 near-air collisions within the last 2 weeks. I heard on the radio coming home last night from work. So we need to lower our standards so we can hire more of these minorities and hire more of these people that are just not equal. Aristotle was quoted as saying, something that's hard for any society to survive is making things equal that are not equal. And when was Aristotle alive? 3,000 years ago? So, what did he know that these people today can't figure out? So, but they don't care. They're not trying to figure everything out. They want power. And they're trying to ram anything they can through to destroy this country because they want power. They would rather blow the country up and burn it down. At least they're in charge at the end. That's their thinking. and we're in extreme dangerous times right now. I was going to talk about Sticks, Hex, and Hammer's latest video, the shelf of the national divorce bullshit dog. He's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I'm going to put that on another video because I'm running out of time. In Friday's video, it's the 1 year anniversary, if you want to call it that. I call it the 1 year horror day. This insane Ukrainian invasion by Russia or Vladimir Putin, whatever how you want to word it. Okay. Hopefully the President of the United States and Congress won't give Ukraine billions more before I can get the video out. I'll close the video with this. February 24th of last year, when I go to my W-2 job in Santa Barbara County, you have to walk up a big hill, and you have to make a right to get to the office. Well, I saw two of the co-workers at this place, and I'll scratch that. I saw two of the more liberal co-workers at that place. When I saw them standing there, I knew that something had come up, because a couple years before that, it was January 6th, and they were waiting for me at the hilltop, and they were, right, what'd your buddy do? I had no idea what was going on January 6th of 2021. I had no idea. And then they told me, and I said, well, I'll look into it. You know, I mean, they thought I was trying to run for cover, but I was getting ready to punch in. I'm on the clock, and I've learned a golden rule for any workplace: never discuss politics, especially if you're on the 1776er Constitutional Republic side. Never discuss it. If you're a Republican or a Trumper or a Reaganite, don't discuss it. You can even be an anti-Trumper, but if you're any kind of a conservative, and if you're not backing Hollywood and not backing these insane people that want to just run over, the 1619 people, if you say one thing against any of these things that they're platforming right now, you're out, okay? And they can force you out of the job. And guess what? They're kind of right in a way that when you're on the job and you're on the clock, any workplace, anywhere in the country, when you're on the clock, your speech is not free. You have to conduct yourself in a manner that's not out of line with the majority of employees. And let's face it, I'm in Southern California, and the majority of the employees here, they think like they vote, and they vote Democrat. So never discuss politics at work. Nothing good could ever come out of it. I'm going to close the video by saying this. When I was walking up that hill when they were barraging me with this Ukraine invasion, I told them, I said, look, the only thing I'm going to say right now off the cuff, without any further information, is that I don't want American boots on the ground. And they looked at me like I was insane. I'm not going to remind them what they said to me a year ago, because number one, they won't forget it. Number two, if they do remember it, they're not going to acknowledge it. Number three, it's coming. So we'll talk more about that on the Friday's video, the 1 year anniversary of this horrible, insane, 121 billion and counting. That's cash money and funding, let alone the Java missiles and everything else they give them. So I know Trump gave some of it too, but if you watch my other video, Trump told Zelensky to make the deal with Putin and get money elsewhere. So make sure you watch that video again. It's got the sunglasses coming down. It was kind of a mashup video. That's why I put it up there, so the world could see that. Always a great day to be an American. Thank you. Have a good day. Stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.